All right. Oh, God. There we go. Welcome, everybody, to episode 7 of Tome Talk, brought to you by BlackDesertTome.com. Oh, how's everybody's weekend going? I know that it's been an interesting one with Twitch deciding to host the living bejesus out of everything in the world. But hey, look it, we made it. We've got some exciting and fun topics to talk about. But first, I want to know, how's everybody's week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, pretty good. Regular old gaming. That's about it.
Just AFK fishing as always.
I've been playing DayZ. Getting shot a lot.
Kenu didn't believe me when I said I did good with the AK the other night. He said I'm not allowed to use guns.
I've seen him in ARC recently. He doesn't need a gun.
Yeah, and someone doesn't need a chainsaw either.
True story. True story. Holy fuck. Oh. So we got some hot topics of discussion this week, guys. We're going to roll through some awesome stuff. I'm going to jump into the KR. In KR, there is no trade whatsoever, guys. In NAAU betas, we have limited trade, consumables, pots, so on and so forth. What kind of benefits and what kind of downside do you guys see to our system continuing to use that or removing it entirely? Zemi, I want to start with you on this one.
All right. Yeah, I think honestly, when I first started playing, I definitely was on board with everyone else. Where I was like, you know, what? There's no trading. This is weird. And but honestly, I got used to it really well, and I do see a lot of benefits to it. It does stop gold selling. That's one of them. It stops feeding, which is always a big plus in my book. Like I can't stand people getting fed. So you know, basically GMs, you know, abusing the system by going, oh well, you know, if you want to rank in this or do you want gear and stuff, you need to feed me or my, you know, special inner council of friends. So I think there's a lot of benefit to it. The downside really is, you know, not being able to trade with friends and things like that, or maybe, you know, especially with the new party system coming in, you know, you're with a group of friends, you're farming and stuff like that, and then you can't trade, say, an item drops that, you know, your friend needs to repair something with, and, you know, they won't be able to get it because you looted it. But, you know, at the same time, the party bag was implemented. Maybe they'll bring back the party bag this time, so that'll be cool. So if they bring back the party bag, I think no trading is perfect in all aspects.
Yeah, I agree. With potions, though, can't you still... So let's say a gold seller, if they give you money via potions... Would that work? Like
yeah, you can still make money off of potions. What they did in the Russian version, and me and a couple people actually tested out in CBT1, where we were actually trading potions to each other, and then you could sell them on the auction house, or trading food and selling it on the auction house and making money that way. Which you can also do with feeding as well. You know, that's how you can do. You know, that's how you can feed as well, as by giving potions and food.
Yeah, that's the only downside that I see with that. That's why I'm kind of on the boat of equal trade. Let's say you trade 1,000, you know, health pots in exchange for a +5, you know, weapon or whatnot. But it does cut it down a lot, but I think there's still possibly could be a problem with that.
Yeah, of course there's going to be a problem with it, I think, if they're going to open it up to consumables or potions being able to be traded. Gold sellers will probably take advantage of that, but you got to look at it from this point. Do we as players want to have to be at least able to trade consumables to each other, potions to each other, at the cost of maybe getting the gold sellers back into the community? Or do we want to go back to the version where there is no trade whatsoever? You can't trade pots, you can't trade food, you can't trade anything. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we got to look at right now, is what part of that do we want? Do we want this partial trading aspect and have the possibility of gold traders coming in fucking up the market? Or do we want to just go back to the old way of, nope, what's yours is yours, you can't get anything unless you want it off the auction house? And that's the main thing I think we got to look at in this instance. I myself, I got used to no trading. It was interesting. It actually made me feel like I have to fend for myself. I have to earn my own stuff. It was a little bit more exciting. Not sure how you guys felt on that aspect.
Well, I have to say is why not have the best of both worlds, right? I mean, I would prefer no trade at all, but I mean, it's a pretty easy fix to make it so you can't, gold sell. Just make it so that the items that are traded after they're being traded, they're bound, so you can't go and resell them. I mean, sure, you may have some dude with like 1,000 or to 1,000,000 HP pots in their inventory, but whoop-de-doo. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't have everything like perfect unless you just take out no trading at all, which I'm okay with. But the gold sellers will only be an issue if you can't pay to win in the cash up, or RMT. Basically, take cash up items and then resell them on the auction house for money. If they make it so that the cash shop items can't be sold in the auction house, that'd be amazing, for one. But then you'd run into the issue of people just basically gold selling or transferring money through potions and other tradable items. So I think the best thing to do is just make it bound and you have it fixed.
Bound to make it so you can't even sell it to the other vendors, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I think that fixed most of the issues there. I mean, I'm excited to see what they're going to do about it. Either way, I'm alright with, as long as they take this approach with the open eyes of, if we don't do something about this, if we go with the trading, then we could ruin our market. As gold sellers, we've seen every game. When they get into there, they ruin the game. They really do.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the little Chinaman that delivers your birthday present every fucking day for $150 in games is just horrible. It ruins a lot of the aspect of gameplay. I agree with you guys on that one. I don't want to see them completely take out all sorts of trading and stuff. I mean, there is a useful aspect of it, but again, there are certain items, and I agree with everybody when you say a cash shop item should be account bound. Done and done. That's solid. I am there with you on that. Now, however, though, I mean, if Kinu makes a torch and I need a fucking torch, he should be able to hand me the torch. It's, his mats, his shit, and I need to see. So that's where I'm at with that one.
I need my lamp.
It has been screamed before, okay? It gets dark in games, all right? My eyes aren't great, I can't see, and then I end up walking off cliffs and everybody has a fun time laughing. So, well, maybe it's not so bad. I'm going to move on, and let's talk about Jesus Christ. Let's talk about the PM Diary this week. PM Diary was released. Lots of fun stuff in there. Let's talk about the first section of that. Party play revamp has been done to change the experience gained while in a party. Looking over the numbers, it looks like they've scaled it quite nicely. Ghost, what are your thoughts on the way that they've redone this?
Well, I was actually testing this last night, well, this morning around like 5 a.m. But anyways, it's actually really nice because it really promotes party play. And honestly, if you just have like 3 people to 4 people, it's still beneficial. And you could even have like a 5th person sitting in the back taking a nap, and they still get the same amount of XP, even if they were or weren't grinding. It's just about how fast you can kill the mobs at that point. I mean, the amount of XP you get is basically the same as if you were solo. So it's just more or less about your efficiency to kill as many mobs as you can. Like what we did the other night is we went to two spots in Valencia Part 2, which normally you wouldn't really go to for solo grinding because it's not that great compared to like other spots. But because they were so dense with mobs, it was really nice because you could pull like 3 to 4 groups and then just basically burn everything down. It was actually insane. There was so much stuff going on that our frames dropped so much. It was actually really fun. And it was the first time that I've partied up with like a group of players to actually PvE and grind mobs for a long time. Like the only other time I've ever partied up is like in the beginning of OBT when I was having an issue like trying to grind out money, and I had someone come by and do it for me basically because my character was too weak. So I think it's great. I think it's great.
I'm going to chime in for 2 quick seconds here just because I see a lot of it rolling through chat, and I know that we have a connection currently, and hopefully people will see this. There is currently a lot of issues going on with connectivity to Twitch servers, not just for us, for a lot of other channels. We are recording locally, guys. We will have this episode up for review on YouTube under youtube.com/blackdeserttome-en. We are sorry that we can't keep the stable connection. It's not on our host end. We know that much.
Sorry.
The Canadian came out and you're right there. Sorry, guys. What's in the news?
Okay, I can't help it. I'm Canadian. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. There's a moose about the hoose. Anyways, back to the topic, guys.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It really, when you have 5 people, you can't. It's probably way out of range to be able to have everybody farm enough mobs, because you can pull 5 or 8 mobs per person, and 8 times 5 is 40. That's a lot of mobs to be, finding around. And if you're not in range, obviously you're not gonna be getting those mobs, the XP. So yeah, having like a couple of people that are sitting out, just eating dinner or whatever, and switching out with each other, grinding those mobs. But anyways, other than that, I think it's fantastic that they scaled up the XP. It really does increase or make people actually want to play together. As before, nobody wanted to, party up because it wasn't beneficial. But now that it's beneficial and it's brings everybody together, I think it's really great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like that they're doing this because I feel like they're definitely trying to break the mold away from the Korean version and the original. Not, I wouldn't say the original concept, but their concept that they got around 3 or 4 months into open beta of making it more friendlier for the mobile gamer. Which really put on a thing for solo play, for quick play, and things like that, and the microtransactions and stuff. So I think it's really nice to see them do that, because they're like, okay, well, as we stated before, this is not going to be how the Western version is. That's how the Korean version is. We want to break that mold and get away from how the KR version looks. So I think it's really good that they're making these changes.
I'm excited for these party changes. I mean, this right here and a couple other things that they said in his diary is pure example that they're listening to us as players. And that gives me a huge boost in this game. I'm actually excited now knowing that they're going to actually listen to all of our feedback, try to go accordingly. Now on to this actual party. I mean, moving the XP up so we can actually play with our friends, that's amazing. That's great. It's like all the other places that you wanted to do. The only thing that I can see with it is, for instance, it gets to 5 parties and it goes up to what? You get 250 XP or something in full of what it is. When you get to that higher number right there, you're going to be spaced out quite a bit if you're trying to kill it. So, I don't know, you're going to have to look into it. I don't think you're going to get as much XP. Now, 2-3 people, I think it's probably going to be max that you're going to want to do in this right here. If you're trying to farm XP myself. Just judging from other games, the space of how far apart all the mobs are, you're going to want to kill them at a fast enough rate, but you can't go far enough away or you're not going to get that XP. It's the only thing I'm wondering about this. It's true you're going to be able to kill them faster, but I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm thinking on that there. I'm excited that they did this, so I think that's going to be great, and it's going to be a huge boost to this game.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing how good they are, like, listening to the community and then making active, positive changes to improve the game. One thing that I would like to see though is extended a extended CBT2, so it's more than just a week, because there's not really much to test in a week. You either have people that will go to 50, or the rest will just AFK fish, and you're not really testing a lot of the mechanics unless it's the actual GMs spawning in world bosses or doing Dark Knights. I think that the CBT one was great with all the tests that went on. I think it was awesome, but I would like to see it maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3, because obviously we have so much time where nothing's going on between beta tests. It'd be cool to see something happen in between those, some kind of alpha server that's constantly running of sorts.
Yeah, just real quick about that. Yeah, I think it's good that they are. I do hope that they increase the CBT1 or CBT2 a little bit longer. I think that some people just didn't have. I mean, even myself, I just didn't have the time to play. It'd be nice to get maybe a 2-week thing in. I don't know. I think 3 weeks is a bit too much. For obvious reasons, they don't want people getting there and then being done. So from a PR standpoint, especially these closed betas, let's be real, the only testing they're doing is for the language, and any new systems that they're implementing. So a lot of it's just giving taste to the people who haven't had the chance to play the KR version or the RU version. And as a PR standpoint, and from business standpoint, you don't want to get them too much involved into it. You just want them to be able to test the game, get a little taste of it, and go, okay, I want more, or no, I don't want more. So I think 2 weeks is a very fair number, very solid number, and I think that it'll give some people who didn't have a lot of time for that 1 week to be able to play more, get towards the level 50 kind of thing, and see how level 50 is. It would be nice to see more level 50s running around in CBT2 than CBT1. So
I'd like to get a lot more gameplay out of it than we did with that week. I mean, I had a lot of shit going on in real life in the first CBT, so that kind of limited things, and that's, can't blame anybody for that but myself. But a 2-week span would give us a lot more time to develop. The other side of that too is, we all know, is there's the back end side of things where they're doing server testing and load balancing and verifying the stress tests and all that stuff, and we saw that in CBT1. We know that's what was happening, which brings us into our next topic of the PM diary. Basically, let's talk about field boss drops. There was a big group of us that all ran out every night to the events that Jessica was doing with let's spawn the bosses. I know personally going with SARS was horrible, because SARS, every fucking boss got the drop. Kenny and I just stood there and we're like, what the deuce, man? We run in there, we like hit it a couple times and wizard our stuff and got nothing. So apparently the field boss drop rates are going to be increased to reward those contributing for killing the monsters. How do you guys feel about that? What were your decisions and feelings on the field boss drops? SARS, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. I think it's really great. I mean, with NA coming out, there's going to be a ton of people playing the game, and if we have a ton of people at these huge bosses, it's gonna really turn a lot of people away, because there's like a super low chance you actually get some, and then they get discouraged and they don't want to show up anymore and whatnot. But I think it's a really positive thing for the community to actually be able to get those in-game items.
I'm actually curious on how they're going to be increasing this. Are they going by percent-wise on how many people tagged it? Are they going by, well, here's a base number of people who are going to give it? The reason why is because there's 40 people they say to kill it, just said starting off. But once you get acquainted, you'll have about 10 to 30. You can kill them like that. I'm just curious to see how they're doing it basically in that sense. Yeah, I'm excited they've actually increased it. That's going to make a lot of people happy. There's no doubt about that. Hopefully in CBT 2 we can actually test a little more and get a little bit more insight on it.
Yeah, actually, me and Kenny were actually talking about this, a couple days ago, Kenny?
Yeah, a couple days.
Yeah, and one thing we were talking about was the loot drop specifically and how it was going to work. I know a lot of people want to have it the highest damage. Even my first idea was like, yeah, highest damage, because I know I'll be up there, but I think about it and I sit back and I always try to look at systems in a kind of a developer point of view. And if you're looking for the longevity of the community and making sure that it's somewhat of a fair playing field, so people don't go blown out, people don't get blown out of ever getting loot, is you do need to make it somewhat fair. And honestly, highest damage is not fair, because it basically means the people with the best gear will always get the stuff. The people with the lowest gear will never have a chance on those field bosses whatsoever. Now, currently in the KR version, it is if you tag it, you have a chance of getting loot. I'm not totally against that, but I can see the lack of appeal towards it, and I can't agree with it, especially on field bosses, for instance, when someone can just be on a horse and do a drive-by real quick, ping it, and that's it. Now they're on the loot table. I think what they really need to do is maybe make a threshold, like a damage threshold. You do this amount of damage, and then you get on the chance of getting loot. I just don't want to see it highest damage, because I think with highest damage you're going to end up seeing the geared get geared and the people without gear getting screwed. So I think that's how they need to play with it and see how that works. Find a good damage threshold and go from there. And I think it'll work out well. I was gonna say something else, but I totally blanked. So, Ghost.
Yeah, I mean, what it looks like is they kind of took what the Zaka concept and all the other world bosses concept is, which is only like 1 through like 2 people get like the best inside item, and then the rest get like little rings and maybe a gem or 2. And it looks like they like made it even less. I mean, I didn't really get to experience it, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like they just kind of like minimized it. What they need to do is, I guess, increase the amount up to like, I guess, 50 that can receive loot. And then how it works with the world bosses as it is now is if you die during the world boss, it kind of resets your whole aggro. So even if you spend the next like 20 minutes hitting it, if there's, you know, like 50 other people in front of you that already hit it and haven't died yet, you're kind of screwed. So because you're not making that threshold per se of like hitting it. Because one time I actually switched channels and I was killing Duber, the desert dragon boss, and with my awesome cannon of death, I just sniped the dragon before like it died. It was on like the very last bit of health, and I got loot. So that's because there wasn't as like there's only like I think like 20 people there. Normally there's like 50, but because like how they end up being is it's hard to like keep up with all the bosses with all the channels. So it'd be pretty cool to see them increase the type of loot from the drops from the field bosses, but then again, it can't be like super overpowered because people will just have that stuff on farm. So,
I mean, I really hate the fact that on some bosses, how, for instance, like you said, you went in there, got once, and then you got your loot. And that stuff always made me rage. I mean, I've been there like 2 hours right now, hitting the shit out of this dude here, and this guy who's randomly came in, got the loot, and I didn't get it. I mean, I kind of hope they do take part base damage into it, into this actual, the mathematics of whatever they're doing for the loot.
I mean, the issue with that though is then you have some guy in like plus 20 gear coming in, or some guy in plus 15, you know, and basically the stronger just keep on getting stronger. It doesn't really give the chance who are new to the game to like get in there and have that sliver of RNG to just get some decent loot.
Yeah, but like, that's why you have a damage threshold though. Like you make a damage threshold and you leave it. You have to hit this amount of damage to be able to put on the loot table. And you don't have to make it super high. I'm just saying you need to have it at a certain level to make it fair. So the little guy who's running by going pink and fucking keeps on going, then they don't get, you know, they get loot and other people don't. Or, you know, you don't have a level 49 going up there and hitting it, and he finally gets a hit off because, you know, his accuracy ain't working, and now he gets loot, and it's like the other people get screwed out of it. I don't think that's really, like, I can agree and I can see with the community as a whole on that one. I do think it needs, I'm really, really adamant about there being a damage threshold there.
And it's true. I just, like I said, I want to see what they do or how this is actually calculated. It would be interesting to see it myself, but we got to come to an agreement, I guess, on it at some point. They'll do the best they can. We just kind of put it in their hands.
All right, so I'm going to roll with some questions and answers. Got one from Zandog206. He's asking, or she, sorry, I should not be gender biased with this. Question is, one of the cornerstones in Arcade was trade runs in the system. Do you ever see BDO expanding their trade run system to the seas, i.e. pirating?
Arr.
I feel like this is a good one, given the background of this panel.
I like it.
Zemi, you got some input?
I do. I mean, you can do trading on the sea right now. Like you can go to, I forgot the name of the island. Ghost, help me. Big Island. Oh yeah. You can do trading there. You can do some trading, like fish trading and stuff like that on the things. There are NPC pirates. Do I see pirating going on like Arcade? As much as I hope and pray, and pray, oh pray, do I wish it would come. I don't know if we see it anytime in the near future. You need good water combat as a pirate for pirating to be as good as it was in Arcade. Don't get me wrong, the ship battles were fun, but at the end of the day, at some point, it ended up in the water, and the fight broke out in the water. And don't get me wrong, it's pretty entertaining to swim under a galleon and then drop a meteor on top of the entire galleon and watch everybody die. That was always entertaining. So water combat does need to be in for pirating, and they're a long way away from getting water combat in place, because right now water combat, well, there is no water combat, and just water mechanics in general are pretty awful. So
Yeah, I mean, they've been trying to find ways to implement water combat a little bit more, and ever since like a lot of the people from Arcade have been saying like, oh, water combat's amazing, we should really have that, and then they're like, okay, let's try and see what we can do to make that happen. I mean, in Valencia Part 3, which I have no other ones coming, but they're going to implement a giant ship, like a galleon of sorts, so we might be able to see some more combat with that. Hopefully, because the issue is that when you fall in the water, you just kind of float there, and you can't do anything except for get hit. And for melees, there's no ships big enough for you to really do anything, or archers to do anything. Only I think 2 real classes can actually do anything. That's Sork or Wizard, because they don't need to move to cast their ranged abilities really. And I mean, there really isn't much to do. I mean, other than that, you can fight on top of dead whales for the body loot. I mean, you can see that on a few YouTube videos. But I do hope that they implement something, but I hope that they don't break it in any sort of way. I mean, I think one really good thing that they can do to increase trade pack pirating is remove or restrict the transport system a little bit more, because to be able to send all your valuable items through a protected cart that no one can steal from is really insane. It's like, I'll just send everything on this cart that no one can touch, and it's all good, and I'll just run over to the town and turn it all in. I mean, I think if they were to do something with that and make it a little bit more restrictive, I know that some people might get angry or upset, but it'll promote more cart running as well. So you'll be able to gank a lot more people, moving carts around. I mean, right now they added in Valencia Part 2, which increased being a bandit in the desert, which is really cool. But there's really no point. I mean, there's no one going out there to do anything, and you can just send all your valuable trade packs to a port north of Valencia City, and take them from there. Follow a pretty much safe road south, and you're at the city to turn your packs. So it's there really isn't much threat when you do it through that method.
yeah, just real fast on that. See, the original concept for that portion that you're talking about, Ghosts, for the trading and stuff like that, at least when I remember, I was getting ready to play and reading up on stuff, was the fact that it was supposed to cost a lot of money, a lot of money. So if you wanted a fully protected cart kind of thing where nobody could touch it, it was going to cost you so much it would have given you barely any profit. And then they just kind of let go of that idea, and I don't understand why they did. And from what I understood, you were supposed to also be able to attack the carts, even if they were NPCs. They'd just be difficult to find. So you ran that risk, but I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
I mean, it would be great. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Cyrus.
It would be great if they could increase the cost of doing warehouse transport, because on KR I have unlimited energy pretty much, and it's not even a factor, when I'm creating, these wood boxes and sending them across the map all the way to Altanova, and then just get my cart out to take it down to the city south, and not having to worry about bandits or anything, because there's no bandits on, where I go, and the cost is very minimal. But at least, raise the cost on that. That would, make me think less about doing that and actually carting it myself. But as for pirating out in the ocean, there's just too many physics that are wrong right now out in the ocean. An example of, if you try to get on a boat, it's really hard to get to the wheel. You can't really stand behind your wheel. the ships are too small for any kind of movement. But I'm sure they've originally wanted to do, introduce galleons and whatnot, and they were also planning on fixing swimming. I'm not sure if that's still the case now, but it seems like swimming is kind of the same mechanics as riding your horse. And when it has like a small turn radius, or a large turn radius when you want to go a different direction. So I think once they fix that, it's gonna be a big thing to fix. But once they fix that, I think they could start thinking about doing galleon wars and whatnot, and it would be so epic, I think.
It would be really awesome to have pirating. I mean, that's the one thing that brought me to Arcade was the fact that I could go on a boat and just mess someone's day up, steal all their stuff, and leave. That was exciting. But can you imagine, like, for instance, a blader in the water? I mean, how's that going to work? Or a wizard? I'm going to cast this lightning. Everyone around me, just be careful. You might get shocked. It's going to be fun, though. I mean, if they do something like that, you got to look at the aspect of you're no longer looking left, right, straight. You got to look up. You got to look down. How are you going to get the skills to just go straight up or straight down? I mean, I just, with the current fighting aspect and the current way that this game is, I don't know if they'll be able to implement something like that. But if they do, I'm going to be excited. It's going to be fun. In terms of what you guys are talking about, like the trading and all that, it would be great to be able to find someone's like little cart rolling down there thinking it's having a great time, ruin it, steal their stuff. That would be awesome. But then again, you'll have the people who are just griefing and that would stay there day in and day out, knowing where a lot of the carts come through just to mess their day up and take it.
I will say I did have one pirating experience in BDO. It was actually my first character. I was playing a warrior, and I went red. My first two characters, I went red, negative million karma, and me and a buddy of mine, we were actually out in the ocean fishing, and we had this ranger pull up on us next to us in a boat, and decided he didn't like reds fishing in his waters, so he tried to attack. And I proceeded to jump in the water while he's attacking me. Now, keep in mind, this was before Rangers got buffed. Like, when OBT started, Rangers were really, really, really weak. And they could basically get one shot by anything. And so he's sitting there trying to kill me as I'm swimming in the water. And I finally get to his boat, climb up, and he had hit me so much I got my 100% crystal, and I was spamming my health pots while I was getting up there. I get up on his boat, turn, look at him, and then ult right on top of him and kill him. And then sit there on his boat for the rest of the day. And he refused. Like, he tried to come back once, and we killed him again. And his boat was gone. Like, off into the abyss, like, never to come back.
Oh man.
Fun times.
I'm gonna. Oh god, the fucking dog. The dogs are attacking today. Yeah, he's gonna start talking. Gonna roll back into the PM diary. Unlike the KR version. Oh god. Okay. Yeah. Hi dogs. Hi. Are you done? See the streamers. They got them all riled up. This. This is what I have to put up with. Technical difficulties and dogs. Gonna go into the energy system. Unlike the KR version, processing requires energy, especially a lot at a lower level. This might slow people down more than you might enjoy. They've recently taken our feedback on all this. Energy potions will not be sold in the cash shop. I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah, I'll take
the
it
energy
from there.
Okay.
I mean,
If you,
so
yeah, give me a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, the energy potions were actually added in to Korea. Their concept was to try and like help with the whole issue with like the restriction on processing costing energy. So it's kind of like, hey, if you're low on energy, you go to the auction house, you buy some energy pots from other players, or you can bottle it on one character, move it over to another character. Now, to my knowledge, now this isn't confirmed yet. I still haven't found a way to do it in Korea, but according to some resources, it takes 100 energy to bottle a 10 energy potion. Now, obviously, it's different in Korea because they don't have the restriction on energy, And I think that the restriction on energy for NA is too much. I think it's choking content. I think that there's other ways to appropriate the issues at hand than simply trying to slow down content progression, because you're changing a core mechanic of the game without changing everything else, which is going to have some kind of effect. Obviously, it's going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire game, and people may not see it now, but we'll see it at some point in time. I think it's a good idea. I hope that it's maybe like a 1-for-1 ratio or 2-for-1 ratio with NA, so it's not as expensive. Like to spend 100 energy just for 10 to sell is a lot, but like I said, that's not really confirmed.
I'm excited about this. The main feature there being energy pots will not be in the cash shop. Right there, I think they just saved the game. Early start out, that was a huge thing to pick from. They could have made a lot of money off that, but they're looking at the longevity of this game. They're looking on making it last and making it fun. So I mean, I'm excited about that. Energy pots being able to turn into an energy pot, like use your energy to do an energy pot, excuse me. That sounds awfully familiar for some reason, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Hashtag my idea.
Before Kenny steals all your topics.
Hashtag my idea. Right? I think it's really good that they implemented this for obvious reasons. Hashtag my idea. I think it's the most fair system to implement when you have this dilemma of either your biggest options. Now I've actually watched the forums and how the community has reacted to this, and I think there's some people who are fairly against it. But I mean, my answer to those people are, okay, so this is your options. This is literally your options. So you have this option here that they are implementing or wanting to implement, and then your other option on the left side is going, okay, well, we have unlimited energy. Now we can play the AFK game, and everybody can make millions upon millions upon millions of silver for those of you who like crafting, and for those of you who don't like crafting, well, good luck keeping up. Because you're gonna have to work twice as hard to get all that silver, where they can just AFK and do that. Or the other option is keep the system how it started, where processing costs energy, and they sell pots on the cash shop. So yeah, those are your three options, and I think this one is perfect in the middle. I will say maybe 100 energy is too much. I would say they probably need to knock it down a bit for the NA version, because I don't know anyone, because if you think about it, I mean, what, somebody maybe have maximum 400 energy, 300 energy, somewhere around there, and I think that with 100 energy, at least for the NAU version, that means it's going to cost you, you're going to get 3 potions out of that for 10 energy. I think that's a bit not good. I'll say it that way. So I think they need to maybe tweak the numbers a bit, and this could be, as what Ghost was saying, it could be just because of the KR version and processing doesn't cost any energy. So I'd say maybe 20 energy, maybe 2-for-1 kind of thing would be pretty good.
I'm pretty fond of the idea of being able to bottle up energy and saving it for later or selling it to someone else. At first I thought it was kind of a bad idea, but then, remembering that this game is buy to play, so if you had a bunch of alts, different accounts, making energy basically and sending those, selling those to your other character, for example, that's not going to be a big issue because you have to buy all those accounts, and I'm sure if there's going to be one of those whales out there that's going to do that anyways, but I like that, and also not selling in the cash shop is a big win. This is just a reminder to everybody that, they listen to the community. They obviously have said in the past they don't want pay to win, so I imagine these positive things are just going to keep on coming in, with the cash shop, and knowing that next week they're going to be back from, Korea, and they're going to be talking about the cash shop, items, and hopefully it'll be just, similar where there's no pay to win or very little.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to comment about the whole AFK processing thing. Like, yeah, you make some money from it, but by the time you're making a lot of money from it, you're at the point where people can grind 5 to 8 mil per hour, and the amount of time it takes to AFK process, it takes a while to grind out all of the wood, the iron, and all those materials. You also need to wait for the workers to do it, and then you also need to invest beer to feed those workers, and it's a huge time sink. It's the same as like fishing, for example. I mean, if you're going to be restricting AFK processing, then why not restrict AFK fishing? It's the same thing. I mean, you're basically AFK just grinding money, and you're also getting disco scrolls from it, which is a great source of money. I mean, I think that the AFK processing system itself is okay, because in order to like really make money from it, you need to be a high level processor. Like, you can't just be rank 1 and just going at it. Well, not rank 1, but level 0 and processing, and then you can't expect to be making millions in the first week. It's going to take you a while to grind it up, and then you'll be procking more and more materials, so it's cheaper and cheaper to handle it all, and eventually you'll be making, you know, a decent amount of money. Like right now, if I did only steel ingots, it takes me about, I think, 2 days of AFK processing to make 20 mil a week, and it takes me that entire week just to craft all of the boxes. And that's with crafting them at was it 6 different locations. So I mean, if I didn't have that, it would take me twice as long.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't take time to implement that, but I mean, for those, you know, for like me, like I don't want to have to have my computer on the entire time, 24 hours a day, to be able to compete with people who are AFK processing. I think it's the system is a bit screwed. Not to mention the amount of money that you can make without the risk is another issue that is involved with that. Like, there's no risk in it. Whereas, like, even grinding, there is a risk of it. There's a risk for you dying by mobs. I mean, it can happen. It's a freak accident, but it may happen. Especially, it's a higher chance in Valencia. So, you know, you can end up losing gems and end up losing money by the time you're done grinding. But I think with no risk involved whatsoever, via being able to sit in town and do it the entire time, and being able to do trading via just sending it off on the NPC and never having to worry about it getting stolen, I think that's a bit much. And I think either the fix that they have right now is good, or that they make it to where, you know, there's some type of risk involved.
But I mean, to change that though, they would need to change multiple systems to then include risk in all those areas, like
exactly.
For example, AFK fishing or the transport. So I mean, it's like, if it's not broken, why try and fix it? I mean, you'll end up AFK fishing overnight, and anyways, just to try and keep up, because people will just be doing that. So, or AFK leveling courses. I mean, there's still lots of AFK ways to make money. It's just now it's kind of restricted to just those 2. Instead of all these other options.
I don't think the AFK fishing makes as much money. I mean, don't get me wrong, you do get the scrolls, but I don't think it makes as much money as the boxes do, because you can't catch the really, really good fish without actually sitting there and fishing. Like, you're restricted to only, I think, what is it, the Porgy, or the gold one? That's only like 10,000 or something like that.
I think it's based on where you fish.
To.
I believe that's why people usually fish on like the edge of towns, like where it's the ocean. You get higher tier fish, but I think you're right. You can't get like the super high tiers.
Yeah,
like,
you can't get the good
200K and stuff like that.
Yeah, the really money makers. So basically, for AFK fishing, the biggest money making that you're getting is the scrolls. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you can make some money off fishing, but it's nowhere near the amount that you can with AFK processing. The horses, on the other hand, I'm not. I mean, yeah, you can make some money, but that's 100% RNG with the breeding and things like that. So, yeah, sure, you have a chance of making that much money, but you can end up sinking a crap ton of money and not getting anything out of it. So,
yeah, there's a lot going on in there. I'm going to move on to our last topic of today's show. They recently updated the PM diary to state that the level that PvP unlocks will be increased for CBT2. Ghost, how do you feel about that?
I think it should just be 50 at standard. I mean, because you don't unlock a lot of your abilities till like the 40s or 45s, and you don't even get your skill awakenings till 45. You get a skill awakening at 45, 49, and then every level after that. So I think that it's good that they're increasing it. I think that there's a good reason why it was 50 in Korea, and I think that trying to PvP below 50 before you have like your basic abilities that are unlocked at like level 50 or 49 or 48 is just annoying, because then you're just kind of sinking health pots and mana pots just to try and poke somebody down. And if someone's lagging as well, it's like you're just chasing in a circle, wasting time, and no one's ever gonna really win. It's just gonna end up being like, okay, well, we can mutually agree that I'm not gonna die and you're not gonna die. Let's just go our separate ways. And then that's all that it really turns into when you try and do PvP below 50.
I can see that point of just locking it at 50 because of the skills for certain classes. They're not going to be able to do much at certain times. I can understand that fully. The only thing is, like, I love PvP. I like the fact I had, like, level 30, I was able to fight someone. I thought that was great. But like you said, it's not really a fight at that time. It's more just, it's boring at that time. So, I mean, it'd be all right if they locked it at 50. I know I myself wouldn't mind that. But I don't know if that's going to kind of put a bunch of people off, because they still got a level to 50. True, power leveling's not that hard in this game, but do you think that's going to put a couple people off at least, saying, hey, I can't PvP till I'm level all the way up anyways. I'm here to PvP. This is not how I want to do it. That's the only other way that I look at that on there.
But it's like then you have to choose between either you get someone a really terrible PvP experience and then they're completely turned off 100%, or they're like, hey, PvP is really good at 50, let me get up there. You know, it gives people more of a reason to get to 50 instead of just AFKing in towns all day.
Very solid. That's the thing. Two ways to go with it. I go with the 50 lock. I want that. That made it much more sense to myself.
Yeah, in CBT1, I leveled up a wizard, and I got to like level 40 something, and I was just decimating everybody, and it's pretty sad because I didn't unlock the right skills yet or whatever, and the wizard was just too overpowered, at the lower levels. There's other classes where they're not getting their bread and butter skills until higher levels, and it's just not balanced at all. So I'm totally fine with having PvP at level 50.
Yeah, well, I'll have to say same here. I mean, I understand why some people wanted lower level PvP, so it wasn't just a complete grind all the way up to 50, but honestly, the game isn't built around low level PvP, and I know there's this thing of, oh, well, in closed beta, it was low level PvP, but the thing is, what you didn't hear about it was, it still wasn't fun. It was never fun. So it just turns into a potion war. It's not fun. So many classes are gimped. I mean, you've got some classes who are better at lower levels. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, do we really want the entire game? I mean, let's be realistic. Do we really want the entire game to be filled with wizards or tamers just because they're good at low level PvP?
I really feel
Probably
like I
not.
need to play the Wizards Never Die track right now.
I mean, it's not fun. I mean, so what's the point of changing it? I get why people wanted to change it, but there's no point in changing it. The game isn't built around it, so let's just put it back to 50. Suck it up, Buttercup. Get to 50, then you can actually have good PvP and fun PvP.
The main thing is, I mean, it doesn't take that long to get to 50. It really doesn't. Use 2 days. 2 days is actually quite a bit of time to get to 50. A casual player can do it in 2 or 3 days easy. It's not much time. You'll learn your skills that way.
Yeah. And you don't have to spend a ton of money on pots while you're farming against people trying to kill you, but they can't actually kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still in the early phases of needing to find out and see what the PvP is about in this game. I'm not going to bullshit my way around it. I haven't PvP'd in Black Desert yet. I'm also now playing KR, so I look forward to it. I want to see it. I want to experience it.
Well, that's what arenas are for.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I wonder-
wait, I lied. I did experience it. Jouska stabbed me and ran. That's right.
Yeah, I wonder what's coming for CBT2. Like, is it going to be the same thing as CBT1, or are they going to have it where we can experience sieges? That's something that we probably should look into.
I don't know. I mean, they're not changing the siege system. I mean, the question is what season are they going to go with? Like, are they going to go with an updated season, or are they going to go with the older season? I mean, personally, I hope they go with the older season, or maybe our own seasons. I mean, the sieges are in seasons, so I doubt we'll see anything in closed beta. I mean, my biggest concern right now is if they are increasing the level for PvP, what level are they going to increase it? Are they going to go 50? Are they going to go 40? I wasn't really sure on that one. So, did anybody know, or did they just say increasing the level?
They just said
probably
increasing
for
it.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
'cause
still.
it was increased to what, 30?
30
last time. So they're probably gonna try
So
40, and then if it's not good, then they'll just go up to like 45 or maybe 50.
One level away. Damn it. My ranger can PvP at level 41. Come on.
It'll be interesting to see what actually comes out of the PM diaries for release for CBT2 and what to expect. I'm kind of excited to see that. I mean, really, it's anybody's guess at this point what we're going to see. We have a little bit of insight from their trip overseas, which is good. So far, it's all been positive feedback for us. And that, again, is strong support of listening to the community and what we've been asking for. And that's honestly what's keeping the interest in this game for me more than anything, is that it is being developed properly. They're taking their time, they're doing it right, and they're listening to what matters, and that's the key factor, the players that are playing.
Yeah, I do want to say something, and I know we're dropping in and out, and I hope Jouska's listening. Is, you know, I gotta say, guys, like, you coming out with that PM diary, you hit a home run. You did really good. You're coming out into the CBT2 swinging for the fences. So I give you mad props on that, and I hope that they keep following this pace and this momentum and keeping it up for CBT2. And I think this game will be absolutely 100% amazing. So if they keep doing the right decisions like they're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. They're definitely hitting home runs with the way that they're doing it. It gives us something to read. It gives us something to look forward to too, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out of what's going on. It also takes a lot of the speculation, which has killed a lot of games that are going into beta ahead of time. We've seen that before a lot too, where the speculation and the hype for negativity just goes through the roof and everybody walks away for it before it becomes a thing. At least with this, we see what's coming, and it so far has been positive. Let's hope that we keep on the right track. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we are going to wrap things up for this week. This has been episode 7 of BDO Tome Talk, brought to you by blackdeserttome.com. Thank you to everybody who's come out and put up with the shit tier connectivity problems that have been happening with the Twitch servers. Hopefully it'll be better the next week. Check us out at youtube.com/blackdeserttome-en. We will be uploading this episode there, and you'll be able to view it thoroughly through. I promise. Thanks to everybody that's hosted us and supported us this long, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Later. Thank you.